with another episode of Out and Up, where we encourage young athletes to achieve their very best outside of the game. And like every show, we're blessed to have an awesome guest. And y'all know how I do. I'm going to go ahead and let him introduce himself.
How y'all doing? My name is Hassan Belton. I'm currently a graduate assistant with the University of Louisiana, and I'm excited to be here, man.
Man, thank you for joining us. You ready to get into the questions?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Where you originally born and raised, man?
I'm originally born in Jacksonville, Florida. I lived there until I was in the third grade, but if anybody asks me where I'm from, I'm going to say Columbia, South Carolina.
That's awesome. So you said you're a grad assistant. What sport are you working with?
I'm working with football team, football graduate assistant.
All right. So would that mean that you probably was a former football player yourself?
Most definitely.
All right. When did you start playing football, man?
So I started playing tackle football at the age of 5.
Did you play any other sports?
Yeah, so growing up, I did football, basketball, track a little bit, and that was it for me.
All right. What inspired you to start playing football?
Honestly, I grew up in a football household. Growing up early, my dad, he played college football at South Carolina State University, and I'm the youngest of 3 boys, and they played football. So I always knew I wanted to be a football player. I always wanted to play football. So I would play Little League. My dad coached high school, so I would go to his high school games. He coached Little League as well, so it was just a football household. Everybody knew we were going to play football.
Wow. So I'm going to ask you, man, with all that football history in the family, was there any pressure?
No, I wouldn't say it was pressure, but it was a lot of competition, honestly. So we a really competitive household. So we would compare our stats, like me and my brothers would be like, who did better this week, who did better, who had more tackles, who had more touchdowns and stuff like that. So I feel like that's why we were able to be successful football players.
All right. So because of the football history, I will ask, was there some other sports that you enjoyed maybe a little more, but because of the history, it kind of pushed you into football?
That's a great question. So honestly, when I was young, I was a little lazy. I was a bigger kid, so I wanted to play basketball. Because I started football young. I got burnt out by like mid 8th grade, early high school. I told my dad one day I was playing AAU basketball. I told him, man, I don't want to play football no more. I want to take the basketball route. Like, I'm going to just play basketball. And because my dad, man, we used to wake up early. He used to make me run around the neighborhood, wake up before school run, go to practice, after school, after practice, he'll have me running and all that. So he used to make me grind. And so I told him 8th grade, 9th grade, I was like, man, I don't want to play football no more. I'm going to do basketball. He's like, all right, well, just do this last season, and then I'll respect your decision. And so going into my 10th grade, actually, I tore my shoulder playing football. So I was playing varsity and I was playing JV. I did both. And I tore my shoulder playing football that season, and I had surgery. And then since I tore my labrum and rotator cuff, I couldn't end up playing that basketball season. And it was really a blessing in disguise because that whole off season was the hardest I ever worked. I changed my body and all of that. Like, I was working out, still working out before school. I was working out at school, and I was working out after school with my best friend. And it led me to my junior year having the best season, having a breakout year and all of that. So yeah, I did want to take the basketball route, but football was the way for me. I made the right decision.
That's good. That's good. So we're going to leave the other sports alone because we know you went on to play football at a high level. So we'll say like in the middle school, let's just say high school. Like, when did you like kind of develop the aspirations to play on the next level?
I think I always wanted to play on the next level. Like, I was a kid that I had high dreams. I always wanted to play professional sports. That was my life. I knew that was it. I knew I wanted to play professional, either football or basketball. That's me and my brothers. That's all we cared about. We were just an athletic background. And then, like I was saying, after that 10th grade year, after I was just working hard in 11th grade, when I knew, I was like, yeah, I'm going to be a football player. Like, that's when I knew, I was like, yeah, I'm going to play college and I'm going to the NFL. That I was locked in.
Cool. So at what point did you start getting some college? Now, knowing that you just kind of get back into it because of the injuries, like at what point did you start getting some attention? We've had guests who got the attention early, and we've had the ones because of different adversities, injuries, and everything else go on to play at a high level. However, they get the attention late because now they have to prove themselves, on the back end of the junior and senior year. At what point did you start getting the attention?
So after that junior season, that season I had, that's when I started getting the attention in South Carolina. I had 144 tackles that year. So I had a really good year. Then after that, I was rated the number 2 linebacker in the state. Then I started getting all my football scholarship offers that spring of my junior year.
Wow. So what was that like, getting that attention? I always ask, my guests, whether they've gone on to play pro, in different sports or whatever, like what kept you grounded? When you start getting that attention, you've already gone through adversity. Now you're blessed to do well your junior year, and now you're getting all this attention. What kept you grounded when all these schools are now showing you this attention?
Oh, man, it's definitely tough. Just looking back on the year 15, 16, with college coaches calling you, telling you how great you are, people in the neighborhood telling you, oh, man, you're going to the league, you're going to the league. So it's definitely one of those things where you kind of got to go in one ear and out the other. Like, you got to appreciate what they're saying, but you got to keep doing the things that you did to get you there. You can't just be like, all right, I'm here now, I arrived, just because it's still got a long way to go. So for me, honestly, I would say it was my family and my friends. Like, I had a good group of friends. I would say we were all hardworking guys. My group of friends, we all went on to play college football. So like we were just competitors, honestly. Being from South Carolina, it wasn't too much to do. We were country boys, so we would just work out, go to the field, and that was really it.
Cool. So let's touch on some of the schools that you actually received some interest from before making your decision, and then we'll go on to talk about where you played at. But what were some of the schools you received some attention from?
So some of the schools I had scholarships from was App State, Georgia State, James Madison, Coastal, Presbyterian, Western Carolina. Some more schools. I had some more schools as well.
That's cool. So where do you end up choosing to go to start your college career?
So my college career was a little bit of a journey. So to start my college career, I went to Western Carolina University.
Awesome. So what was it that kind of guided you to making that decision for Western Carolina?
For me, honestly, it was the coaches. It was a good group of coaches, honestly, that really made me feel like I could contribute. It was one of those situations where I felt not only wanted, but I felt like needed. I ain't just felt like a person that they were just offering just to fill a spot. I felt like it was real personable. They really wanted me to be there.
That's good. So on the back end, today you're a grad assistant and you've had so much experience even through your college career. We're going to you just touched on it. You said it was a journey. So we're going to touch on some of the other places that you made stops at. But I want you to give the young athlete watching, what are some things? And so guests watching, no, we typically are talking to just the person that's currently playing at the time, or maybe even have just made a decision. But this gentleman, with the experience he has, with Mr. Belton, with the experience that he has, we're going to ask him a question we ask so many guests. What are some things young athletes should look at when deciding what school they're going to go and continue their career at?
So I would say the most important thing is a lot of kids, they get caught up in the name of the school, the size of the school. I want to go D1. I want to go Power 5. I want to go here. I want to go there. I feel like the biggest thing is you should look at the guys that are going to be coaching. You should look at the degree that you're going to get. Do they have your major? You should look at those things, just because in the college football world, coaches are here today, gone tomorrow. So you don't need to make a decision based off of a coach, even though you should enjoy the people that are going to be coaching you. Those things are important, but you should pay attention to the degree and things besides the football aspect, because and like everybody says, it's a 40-year decision, not just a 4-year decision.
Wow, that's good information. And so we're not going to go year by year, but I'm going to let you kind of take over a minute and tell us about what you consider to be a journey as far as from that point of Western Carolina on through your years to where you're at now. Just kind of tell us a little bit on what the journey was, the schools that you attended, and maybe a little bit on just some of the decisions to take you through that journey.
All right. So after my freshman year, it was some coaching staff changes and things like that. And then it was some family stuff going on. So I felt like I wanted to be closer to home. So I transferred and I played at the University of South Carolina. I was there for a year and then decided to go junior college. So I went to JUCO. I went to Butler Community College. I was there for a semester. And then I finished out my playing career at Bowling Green.
All right. So what were some things just with the journey? And I know for every stop, there was a reason why you decided to make the transition for yourself. And young people have to know, like, sometimes life happens and you'll have to make some changes. Like, what are some things that you learned during the school process and the different schools that you were at, like, that would help the young athlete just in their process?
I would say for me, fall in love with the process of becoming great. That was the biggest thing for me. I know one place I went, I kind of fell in love. I fell out of love with playing football just because when you playing at a younger age in high school and little league and stuff like that, when you playing with your friends and all that, you feel like, oh man, I love this game. And then on the college level, it can kind of feel like it's a job and things like that. But like I was saying earlier, you got to just keep grinding and keep just don't make it the situation bigger. Like, don't make the game bigger than what it is. Honestly, you still playing a game that you played as a child that you fell in love with. So still bring that same energy, still bring that same passion. And that's the type of person I am. I have a lot of energy and passion when I'm playing, also when I'm coaching. So I knew that it was a time for me to leave just because I felt like I was getting torn down to the point like, man, I was second guessing myself. And then, so I was like, yeah, I just had to make that change just to get my confidence back.
That's good, man. Good information. And so awesome you touched on it. Those that will catch this episode with you, if they look back and missed an episode I had it with an awesome guest from the Missouri area, a young lady by the name of Angie Wiley. And she has an awesome program that people can check on to, even virtually. And it's an app for it, but it helps athletes with dealing with the mental mindset. And so you just touched on it. Sometimes we'll get into situations at school and it'll take all the love out of you. It'll take your confidence away from you. So I think it's just important for athletes to know it's more than just the physical aspect. Sometimes you'll face and have to face adversities or situations, even within the sport, where it'll just affect your mind to a place where you kind of get to a point you don't even want to play the sport no more. And so I'm glad that you touched on that. I appreciate it. We're going to transition a little bit to the school end of it, because with the show, we always want young athletes to really think about the full circle. So I'll just say, like, give some of your experiences from the whole totality of your journey throughout the schools. Just advice you would have for the young student athlete with really staying on their academics, or some of the things you were able to learn and being a student athlete, the academic end of it.
The academic end of it, I would say academically, go to class. Honestly, college isn't that tough. Honestly, for me, I switched my major, so I wanted to. I know I always wanted to do something with sports. So I went in the college being broadcast journalism. I wanted to be like on ESPN and things like that, just being a sports announcer. But then I was so focused on the football aspect, I was like, all right, well, let me try to take the easiest route just so I could pass my classes and so I could just be eligible to play football. But the biggest thing that I would say is find a major something that it is that you really want to do, and use college. Don't let college use you. So if you're on a full scholarship, take as many classes as you can, try to get your master's degree, try to graduate early so you can get your master's degree because they're paying for it. So that would be the biggest thing for me. Take advantage of the situation that you're blessed in.
Cool. That's good, man. Thank you for the information. So you end up on the back end, you end up majoring in again?
Oh, I am. So I graduated interdisciplinary studies degree.
All right. And so what are your goals now as a grad assistant? For those that don't know, just explain what the position of a grad assistant is.
So a graduate assistant, so what I do, I help the main staff coaches. I help them breaking down film, uh, off the field stuff, and also I'm getting my master's degree as well. So graduate assistants, we do a lot of work behind the scenes, but it's really like just preparing you, learning a lot to be a full-time coach and things like that. Just you. So I work with the D line. So I have a great defensive line coach that I'm working for, Coach Thomas. So me and him, we watch film together, break down film together. I ask him questions. He tells me how he sees things and stuff like that. So that's really the role of a graduate assistant.
That's good. So I guess I'll ask the question, like in being a grad assistant today, like what are your ultimate goals when it comes to career, the sport? Like what are your ultimate goals going forward?
Ultimate goals, I really just want to climb the ladder. I want to be a position coach. I want to be a defensive coordinator. Eventually, I want to be a head coach. Those are the goals that I have. I have big goals, big aspirations in this career. I love people. I love helping people. I love making a difference. That's one thing that I've always wanted to do. I've always had a passion just for youth and things like that. And I feel like with my experiences in college, I've been the highs of the highs, the lows of the lows. So I can relate to the college athlete on all levels just because I've been where they have been. And I'm younger as well. So I just feel like this was my calling. I've dealt with a career-ending injury, things like that. So I can relate to just about every athlete. So that's why I just want to climb the ranks, and eventually I want to be a head coach.
And that's good, man. Good information. I think the awesome thing in just seeing you in your stride of what you're doing, you're passionate about impacting the lives of these young athletes and teaching them now from your experiences, I think just totally connects to the goal of the show. I always repeat this. I've been repeating it a lot this season just because of some of the conversations I have. I never want young athletes to think when I say achieve your best outside of the game, hey, I want you to do something outside of the game. No, be a professional. Go to the highest level you can. However, I just want you in that stride during the time that you're in that sport to be the best you can be in life, as well as if that sport ever is taken from you via like your situation, injury, or even retirement, you are still who you're supposed to be as an individual outside of the sport. And that's the goal of the show. So I appreciate you covering that because you touched on a career in the injury. And sometimes I think our young people are so tunnel vision and focused on being a professional, playing on college level. You almost feel like you're untouchable and life can't happen.
Right.
And so I'm glad that you touched on that, man. I really, truly appreciate it. And so you may have covered it already, but I'll ask you a question as such. Do you have any adversities or situations in life or in the sport that you had to overcome? And then what did you learn from it? You know, something that may help the young athlete just going forward. Can you think of any adversities or situations you had to overcome?
Oh, man. So for me, I felt like that's what made me who I was, all the adversities that I went through. I've had 5 surgeries throughout my athletic career, shoulder and 4 knee surgeries. And so I felt like every time it just made me work a little bit harder to come back. Each time it did until I tore my knee my junior year at Bowling Green when they told me like, all right, you can't play anymore. But each time just made me a little bit more mentally stronger. Each time I just had to tap into a little deeper, just work a little bit harder every time. So I feel like the adversities made me grow up. It made me mature earlier just because, like I told you, it was for me, it was like football or nothing. And then so when the game of football was taken from me after I wasn't able to play anymore, I was like, all right, who am I? Like, who is Hassan Belton? So that was one thing for me that I really had to figure out, but I wouldn't change my story for anything.
That's good. That's good. So then I just want to ask you real quick, injuries and things like that, those are things that we have no control over. But I will ask, when you look at your career, and I always think these questions help just the young athlete because they may be a middle schooler or a high schooler, and so they can learn from your situation. Are there any things you look back at over your career, and even as a student athlete, academically or on the field, and you think, hey, maybe I could have done this different?
It's some things that, hindsight, that you'd be like, man, I would have probably did this differently. But honestly, no, because I feel like everything in my life has come full circle and everything has made me the person that I am. But I would just say, don't be afraid to be different. That's a motto that I always live with. Don't be afraid to be different. Don't be afraid to be different than your friends. Like, I wasn't the person. I wasn't going out. I wasn't doing all of that stuff. Like, I would stay in my room in college. I would just be playing the game, watching a movie, studying my plays or something. Because it was a quote that I always used to live by. You have to be odd to be number one. So
Wow.
like for me, like I was just like, all right, I'm gonna just be different than everybody else. I'm gonna work a little bit harder while they going out. I'm gonna study my plays. So like I was always trying to do anything I could just to get that extra advantage, get that extra step. So that would be my message to all the people that's going to watch this. Just don't be afraid to be different. Be who you are. If this is what you're passionate about, and not only sports and anything in life, you don't got to follow the crowd. You don't have to do what everybody else is doing. Do what you want to do, how the way that you want to do it. So,
man, I appreciate that answer, man. That was awesome. And I'm hoping those watching, if you hear it and you need to share it with another young youth, a youth or a student athlete, please do so, because that was a strong answer. And I think our young people need to know. Too many young people are simply just following behind the things that they see around them, whether it is from the home standpoint or even from their peers. And so I think you just gave an awesome answer. You got to dare to be different. And what's the quote again?
you have to be odd to be number one.
Man, that's awesome. I'm gonna be using that from now on. That's good. I appreciate that. And so as we continue on, man, and kind of get close to wrapping it up, I just want to ask. I ask most guests in every show, how important is it to have positive people in your circle?
Oh man, that's the most important thing. I feel like positive people around you, you are who you hang around. And a lot of people say that. And, when you're young, you're like, man, that's not the truth. That's not the truth. But the people that you hang around influence the things that you do. And for me in this coaching circle, it's crazy how life comes full circle. So two of the coaches that I played for at Western Carolina, I was there for a year. They're the ones that actually hired me here at the University of Louisiana, Coach Morgan and Coach Thomas. Coach Morgan's the defensive coordinator and Coach Thomas is D-line coach. So I really lean on them. I hang around them. I try to do everything that they're doing because I aspire to be where they are at. So I just try to hang around people that I admire, people that I try to basically, I'm trying to copy the things that they're doing to get where they're trying to get. So that's always been my thing. I'm an observant person. Sometimes I don't talk all the time, but I watch what people are doing, just like, all right, I see how he's doing this, see how he's doing that. And I just try to add that to, to my thing. So that would be the biggest thing. Hang around people, find some mentors, find people that you inspire to be like, and try to do the things that they do and make it your own and tweak it however you want to. But that'd be the biggest thing for me.
That's good, man. And your answer caused me to insert another question before we get to our last one. You talked about now coaching with people that coached you at the first school you were at. And it made me think, sometimes we don't recognize how we carry ourselves, our work ethic, how it can leave an impression on somebody that may benefit you down the road. Now, I just think, if you were a jerk on the field, nasty attitude, terrible work ethic, I don't think those coaches would have looked at bringing you on to staff as a grad assistant. You
Right.
never know where your paths will cross people again down the road. And so if
Right.
you want to touch on that real quick, just what positioned you to have an open door for these coaches to bring you on?
No, that's 100% true. You never know who will be somebody. My pops always used to tell me, treat the janitor like the CEO.
Wow.
So, like, that's one thing I try to be nice to everybody. I try to speak to everybody, but it's crazy, like I said, how life comes full circle. You know, I ended up transferring from there, and 7, 8 years later, they called me with the opportunity to come work with them.
Wow.
So crazy how I was blessed with this opportunity. So yeah, it's just crazy. Like, treat everybody right. You never know years from now how they could possibly help you or you could help them. So I just treat everybody the same, treat everybody with respect, work hard, and everything else will work itself out.
That's good, man. Well, we appreciate all the questions that you've answered on the show. You've given us some great information. And our last question we always ask every show, what or who is it that inspires you in life?
Oh man. So my family is really what inspires me, honestly. We are a close-knit family. My mom, my dad, my brothers, and also I have a 2-year-old son. So those people are the reasons that I wake up and I try to grind every day. I try to get into the office as early as I can, leave as late as possible. Like, just those, they are my reason why. Honestly, they are the reason that I took this leap of faith to be a graduate assistant. They are like, I'm trying to, just take this career as far as possible to help my family out and all those things. So they are my reason why. They are what inspired me to do what I do.
That's good, man. We once again thank you for joining us. But I'm gonna do this. I don't normally do this every show, but I would do this. Tell us what you're expecting from the Raging Cajun this season, as well as there's some kids, whether up north, west coast, or whatever. Tell us a little bit about the program. Some kids where, school may not be on their radar. Just tell us a little bit about the program and what we can expect in this upcoming 2022 season from the Raging Cajun.
So right now, we currently have the longest win streak in the country. We won 13 games straight. Went 13-1 last year. Finished top 25 in the country. Won the Sun Belt Conference. So this year we're expecting a lot of success this year. We got a lot of good pieces coming back. We brought in some good pieces and things like that. So we're expecting for it to be a great year this year. And so we're in Louisiana, Lafayette, Sun Belt. So it's going to be another great year.
That's good, man. Well, once again, we thank you, man. We wish you the best on this season. Wish you the best going forward in your career. We thank you for joining us, man. Thanks again for being with us.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
You all know what I say every show. It is good to be great in the sport, but it's even better to be great in life. So we ask that you take the information we're giving to you, continue to apply it to your life and your career so you can continue to achieve your best outside of the game. We thank you for joining us. Now let's go out and up.